Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to DNFs book 3. Welcome to bookmas day 3. In today's video I'm going over my October and November reading wrap up. These past 2 months I haven't really been reading a lot, so I decided to combine the two, and when I combine the two there's still like not a lot of books that I read, but it's fine. Things happen. I was studying for my NCLEX and I was busy traveling, so didn't really get much reading done as much as I would like, but it's okay. I'm gonna go over my thoughts and ratings with you guys if you haven't seen my reading vlogs on them. So first we'll go over the October reading stats. So in October I read a total of 6 books and DNF'd 1 book, 3 fantasy, 1 thriller, and 2 romances. Those are the stats. The first book that I read in October, I think I was in the middle of filming this video, which is finishing series I'm in the middle of, and the first book I read in that video is A Court and Silver Flames. If you didn't see that video, I did not like this book. Well, I did love it. Like, I still gave it a 4 stars, but 80% of this book was just spice. Like, the spice in this book is like 5 out of 5. I just wasn't a fan of Nesta. I feel like there was only a little bit of character development. I won't say much just because it might ruin the whole series if you haven't read it, but I saw a little bit of a character development, and like when I saw her progressing into like a better person, I still feel like it wasn't genuine. I'm waiting for the next few books to come out and see what she's up to in those next few books, but I think this was the book out of the series. The ending was my favorite. It made me cry. This book, it took me so long to finish just because it's like, what, how many pages? 751 pages, and it was slow for me at some times. Like, I wanted to give up, but I wanted to finish the Akatar series because it's like one of my favorite series. So I'm just waiting for the next book, and I'm really hoping it's Azriel's book because Raisan and Cassian already got theirs, but it might also be Elaine's book, so I don't know. I'm really looking forward for that release. No news yet. The next book I read was Finale by Stephanie Garber. This is the last book in the Caraval trilogy. There is like a novella that came out that I'm really excited to read this holiday season. It's a novella that takes place during the holiday, but this book, I've seen a lot of people give it like mixed reviews just because it does veer away from the main idea of what Caraval is. Caraval, if you don't know, is like this magical game led or hosted by this guy named Legend, and it's basically like a magical game, and you have to like play with other different people who got invited, and they're really into it because the prize is a wish or some other sort that, you know, people really want. However, this was romance heavy, and you know I love. It was amazing. I gave it a 5 stars. I loved it. It was the perfect ending, and I loved the character development between the two sisters. Like, they really matured and grown up. The next book I read, sorry, I'm sitting on a stool and my books are on the floor, but the next book I read is A Big Brick, and that is Iron Flame. This is the book after Fourth Wing, and let me tell you, there was so many times I wanted to give up on this book. I just kept reading reviews and people are like, just keep going, like it gets so much better near the end. It took like 400 pages for me to get better. There is some spice in here. Like, there's not a lot compared to the first book and compared to A Court of Silver Flames. What I liked about this book is there's no time jump from the last book. Like, it starts right where it ends. And what I hate about it is, one, it took so long to get to the ending. Like, it was so slow, and 2, it left on a cliffhanger. It did make me cry, but like the ending, I was like, what is going on? Like, you guys just need to talk to each other. I like Xaden less in this book than in the other book. That's all I'm gonna say, and I gave this a 4 stars. I'm excited for the 3rd book to come out. I think it comes out January 21st, so that's really soon. I already pre-ordered it. I'm filming a video. These next few books are the books I read in my like vacation reading vlog, so if you haven't watched that, I'll link it somewhere up here. And the first book I read in that vlog is The Layover. I actually ended up DNFing this just because it wasn't what I was looking for at the moment. I was looking for a more fast-paced book, and this one was just not giving it. I also heard that this is a good palate cleanser in between like fantasy books or stuff like that, and it's a quick read from what I've heard of, but it just wasn't doing it for me. It's a soft DNF. I will definitely come back to this. It's not like I disliked it so much that I couldn't read on. It's just, it wasn't what I was looking for at that moment. The next book that I picked up after I DNF'd that was The Boyfriend on my Kindle. It is Freedom of Fannon's recently new release. This book follows Sydney Shaw, and Sydney Shaw is, I think, in her 20s or 30s. She has been trying to find the perfect man for her. She has been on a million dates and none of them really worked out for her. Start of this book, she goes on a date with this guy named Kevin, and it was just so weird. I was like, red flag, you need to run out of there, but she was being nice and stayed for the duration of the date and ended up getting assaulted. But then this mystery guy saves her from the assault, and she's been looking for him since. They end up meeting up again and fostering whatever was between them. It was actually during a date, and I don't know, that's the gist of the book. But throughout the book, I was so mad. Like, this girl, she was ignoring all the red flags. Like, the red flags was right in front of her, and she kept making up excuses as to why it's happening. Also, there's a fuzz on my camera. Do you see it? But yeah, that kind of irritated me a little bit. And the ending, I was shocked. Like, I did not see that coming. I had like 5 different predictions on what would happen, but none of them came true. It is the person you least expect. It's always like that. Anyways, I gave this book a 3.5 stars. It gave me what I needed at the moment, but just not a fan of the main character. The next book I read is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I think this was a new release this year, and I absolutely loved it. I gave this a 6 stars. I love the writing. It's just like true rom-com-y. Like, I am getting giddy one moment and laughing because the writing is just so funny. This was the perfect vacation read. Nothing more to say about it. This book follows Anna Green and Liam, but he goes by West, so I'll call him that. Anna is a mess. Like, she is like low income, working 3 jobs just to get through life, and she also has a sick father who has cancer, so she has to pay for the medical bills. And Wes is this like nepo baby. His family owns like a chain of grocery stores, but then in college they decide to get married so they can get like subsidized housing or family housing so they can save extra money in rent. Now that makes sense for Anna, but it doesn't make sense for Wes. I was like, what is going on? Apparently he's paying for all his like school expenses because his father was not helping him because he's not doing what his dad wants. His dad wants him to go into like management or something so he can take over the company. Years and years later, I think like 4 years later, Anna thinks that they're divorced, but apparently they're not. Wes needs her help because apparently they're not divorced. He's been keeping it a secret from Anna because he needs to be married for 5 years in order to get access to his trust fund that his grandfather left. And now his sister's getting married, and his parents really wants to meet Anna, the wife, and you know, kind of get to know her. So he ends up convincing her to come. I love the whole like makeover in here. It's like, it's giving just go with it. And what is that movie? Pretty Woman. Like, I love makeover scenes. Anyways, they get to like the island. They have to like pretend to be in love, so they're basically fake dating or like being in a fake marriage. And there is so much family drama. Let me tell you, the family drama was like the perfect side plot or the plot in this like book. It just kept me entertained, and I loved the chemistry and like the dynamic that the 2 characters had with each other. Like, it was just perfect. Amazing. This took me like 2 days to read on the beach, and it was perfect. The perfect beach read. It just felt like I was in there watching the book happen because I was also at the beach. So 6 stars, recommend. The next book I read is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I decided to bring this because I'm like, I love Emily Henry. I've loved the past few books that I read by her, so this ought to be good, but it wasn't really. Let me explain. This book is about Poppy and Alex. They meet in like college, and they're like polar opposites, but then one day they like decide to carpool home just because it was cheaper, and they're both college students, so they didn't have much of a budget. And then on that car ride home, they end up getting to know each other, blah 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 blah, and they end up being best friends. And from then on, they've taken like summer vacations together. But then there was this one summer that changes everything. Like something happens between them. They don't talk for 2 years, and it's just a whole mess. Like this book goes like back and forth time frames, and I don't know, it was kind of like slow for me. Like the beginning of the book, you're introduced to the problem, not why it happened, which I know like that's like the ending. But then in the middle of the book, it just talks about them traveling the world, which was really cool because like I love traveling, but it was just really slow, and I felt like there was things that were dragged on that is kind of irrelevant. And then we get to the like climax of the plot, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like expected more, but I don't know, I saw this coming. I don't know how to explain that feeling. And then honestly, I don't even remember what happens in the end. I do know the main thing, but like getting there, I don't. Anyways, I rated this like let me check Goodreads. I rated this a 2.5 stars just because I don't know what else to say about it, but it did give like the vacation-y paradise vibes because they did travel to a lot of like tropical places. Okay, the last 3 books in this video, I actually was supposed to like put a reading vlog up, but I ended up not doing it just because I didn't have enough time. It was supposed to be like a fall reading vlog just because I went to visit Austin, and it was like very fall-esque there, and here it is winter wonderland. So I didn't end up uploading that just because I didn't have enough time to edit it, and if it did go up, like I feel like it'd be too late because it's already kind of Christmas season, so it doesn't make sense. Like I feel like not a lot of people would watch it the time that I uploaded it. But the first book that I read is on my Kindle, and that is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. This book, I don't even know how to explain it. It's described as like a supernatural thriller. This book is about Mallory Quinn. She's in her 20s and she's trying to get her life back together. She recently became sober. I don't know, I think she lives with people who are in the same situation as her, and then she has a job somewhere. But then one day her sponsor gives her an opportunity to like apply for this job to nanny for his family friend that just recently moved from Barcelona. So she goes for the interview, instantly loves her immediately, and then when she meets the boy, when she starts babysitting the boy, just like weird things happen. This book scared me, like because I was reading this at night, and then the pictures started showing up. Like I'll put sample pictures up here, and I was like, okay, no, because I'm not reading this in the middle of the night because I am a little scaredy cat. So I stopped, and then I read it the next morning, and it ended up not being scary, so I kind of like got scared for nothing. Anyways, this book, I felt like I predicted what would happen once like the first suspicious thing happened, and it kind of played out to be like a bad horror movie, if you know what I mean. Like I liked it. It was fast paced, like it kept me entertained. I just like didn't like the ending. Like this book had so much potential to be such a scary book, and like there was so much build up to the end. I just thought it'd be crazier. I guess it works out for the characters in the book, but I just thought there'd be more, if you know what I mean. So I ended up giving that book a 3.5 stars because it kept me entertained on the plane. But then one of the pictures showed up, and it was like a freaky picture, and the guy next to me was like, "What are you reading?" Okay, so the next book that I read was like a popular book. One sec. Everyone's heard of this book because it took me so long to get this book. I couldn't find it anywhere. Amazon was also sold out, like it wasn't shipping for another month. That's the dryer, sorry. It plays a little song. Okay. Next book I read is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. I have some mixed feelings about this book. Well, I think everyone did. So this book is a small town spicy romance. It follows 2 characters. Jeannie ends up like inheriting or taking over her aunt's cafe called the Pumpkin Spice Cafe in this little cutesy little town called Dream Harbor. Let's just enjoy the cover. It is giving major fall vibes. That's why I was so excited to read this book. So it follows Jeannie. She is struggling to like start up the cafe, start running it, because she's in this new town that she doesn't know anything about. And then she stumbles upon Logan, who delivers produce for like the whole town. He does it like at dawn so that he doesn't have to see anyone. It's at Grumpy Sunshine. And the first time that they met, she nearly kills him because she thought someone was breaking in. So that was a good first impression. However, Logan has like commitment and abandonment issues just because of like what he suffered from his last relationship. So that's one of the problems in this book. And there's another kind of like side plot where Jeannie is like experiencing all these things or problems going on with her cafe. Like someone is messing with her, someone wants to drive her away, like there's someone messing with like the electricity, someone bashes in a window, like just telling her to get out. And I felt like that side plot was a little bit silly. I'm like, oh, I thought it'd be something bigger, but it wasn't. It's so fast-paced and I love the font. Look how big the font size is. So like I read this in like less than 5 hours. It flew by. Like you can binge this in a single sitting. But speaking of it being fast-paced, the romance was also fast-paced. Like it was insta-lovey and I don't like that. Like there's rare occasions where I like the insta-lovey trope, just not here. Like I think for an author to pull that off and people to like the insta-lovey trope, you'll have to do something magnificent. It just didn't work out for this book. The characters and what they felt for each other, it felt so surface level, like there's not much depth, and like they meet each other and they're already like have feelings and in love, and then 20 pages they already have their first kiss. But I rated this at 2 stars. The last book that I read on my Kindle is Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty. What? I don't know how to pronounce English words. This book I actually saw like on Facebook while I was scrolling in the reels, and I usually like skip those, but like how they advertised and told the synopsis of the story, it's just like, wow, I was like, I want to read that. That sounds interesting. So this book is about a flight, and believe it or not, I was actually on a flight. It was a travel day for me that I read this book. I read it in like 2 to 3 days, but majority of the time I read this book was when I was at the airport or like on the plane. So like it's an ordinary day, you get on this flight, and then a random old lady just stands up, points at you, and tells you your cause of death and what age you'll die. Like she does that for every single passenger, and it's like causing chaos. Some people are like freaking out, like, no, like why is she doing this? Some people are entertained, and nobody's believing her because maybe she's just having a mental episode. That's what a lot of people are saying. But then like a few weeks later, these deaths start happening one by one, exactly how she predicted it. Now wouldn't that make you quake in your boots? Yeah, I thought so. It was confusing at first because there is so many POVs. So the POVs of the lady, the old lady, is in first person. And then there is like, I don't know, like 3 to 5 other POVs that is happening. It is like the POVs of the passengers on the plane. So I kind of got confused in like the first fourth of the book because I'm like, I don't know who we're talking about right now. But then like I ended up getting it throughout the book. It was a lot going on. It talks about like the life of these different people on the flight. I felt like it kind of veered off from what the story is actually about, and it started talking about the past of these people, like what happened when they were born, when they were little, or like just their memories, or what's happening on currently in their lives. And it just felt like isn't about this prediction coming true for these people. It was slow, super slow, just because I'm like, how is this relevant to the book? I liked it when they were talking about the prediction, how everyone is freaking out about their predictions because like it's slowly coming true. The writing in the book is really, really good. Like this is the first book I read by this author. It really makes you think about all these questions that you don't normally think about, or when you think about them you go down a rabbit hole. It's like, what if this, like what if this, like what if the earth exists, like philosophical stuff like that. It's like about fate basically, like, oh, like can you fight fate? Can you change fate? Like if you knew that this would happen, can you change your fate? Going into this book I thought this was like a mystery thriller type of thing, and they're trying to figure out like, how is this lady doing this, like is she a real psychic? But no, it reads more of like a literary mystery fiction and it focuses on these like different characters. I think that's where I got really bored, is there's so many different characters that I didn't really care much for them. But I feel like there is more to like kind of dissect in this book, like the meaning behind the writing and the theories and the questions they bring up. Like I feel like this book is for more advanced readers, like not me. Like I'm like, I don't even know. Like I don't want to ask those questions. I don't want to think about that right now. I just want a fun little cute read on the plane. I didn't have enough brain power to really dig in there and dissect what the author is really asking the readers and like what the author is trying to convey to the readers. But it's good to like switch things up every once in a while. Did I already say I gave this book a 3 stars? That's my final rating. The ending was anticlimactic. I felt like this book had a lot of potential for a better ending because it was like building up and building up and building and it just goes down. Like I was like, oh, that is not what I expected. Anyways, those are all the books I read in October and November. I did read like a few other books in November, but it's currently November right now when I'm filming this, just because I want to pre-film some things for Bookmas, and I won't mention those books because you will see those books in other videos. Anyways, if you stayed this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Bookmas Day 4.